control wins the sovereignty of the earth. When the citizens of Varnavata heard that the famous Pandavas brothers were approaching their city, they came out in the thousands to greet the princes. The people saw Yudhishthira leading his brothers, like Indra leading the celestials. They worshipped and welcomed the princes and led them into their city to the accompaniment of trumpets, drums, and conches. Cheers filled the air as the brothers proceeded slowly along the road and reaching the city's main concourse. They got down from their chariots and went first to meet the Brahmins. Then they met with the city officials, then the warriors, the tradespeople, and finally the workers and the servants classes. Okay, so that's the hierarchy. They got down from their chairs and went first to meet the Brahmins. Okay. So first they met to the intellectual class, then they met to the warrior class, administrative class, and then the traders, business class, and finally the uh, service class, okay, servant classes. So they met everyone. Okay, after the greetings were over, the Pandavas were received as guests of one of the city's chief officials, remembering Vidura's warning and unsure of what to expect. They remained there for 10 days. Then Purochana told them that their own residence was ready. He personally led the princess and Kunti to the house he had named the Blessed Dwelling. As they entered the house, Yudhishthira said quietly to Bhima, "From the orders I detect here, it is evident that this house has been made of lac and other materials soaked in ghee and oils. Without doubt, Purochana intends to burn us into death in this place. It is just as Vidura told me. Duryodhana has obviously entrusted Purochana with the job of killing us." So Yudhishthira Maharaj was already knowing, उनको पहले से ही पता था जैसे विदुर जी ने उनको बता दिया था एंड और उनको ये कंफर्म हो गया जैसे ही वो हाउस में घुसे तो उनको खुशबू आ गया है और उनको पता लग गया है कि ये सब जो मटेरियल है ये सब चलाने वाला है सो he that is confirmed now for him. So Bhima replied, "Then why should we live in this death trap? Let us return to where we have already been staying." Yudhishthira did not think Bhima's idea to be a wise one. If we let Purochana realize we suspect him, then he may try anything in order to kill us. So obviously he is without scruples and he is determined to do the will of the ruthless Duryodhana. We should not give him any indication that we are aware of his wicked intentions. So yeah, Yudhishthira Maharaj भीम ने कहा कि ठीक है हम निकल जाए हम रहें क्यों हम लेकिन विश्व महाराज गरीब वो नीति में काफ़ी अच्छे थे तो ही अंडरस्टैंड जैसे अगर आपके घर में कोई चोर घुस गया तो देन व्हाट डू अगर चोर घुसा हुए मान लो 2-4 चोर घुसे हुए आपके घर में तो आप सो रहे हैं तो और आप जाग गए मान लीजिए तो क्या करेंगे वो दे मे किल यू आल्सो राइट तो उससे अच्छा है कि आप सोते रहें एंड लेट देम डू व्हाट दे आर डूइंग or maybe you can try something else but don't let them know that you are not sleeping you know about that so that is what Vishnu Maharaj is saying here. So when Purochana left, the brothers spoke openly together. Yudhishthira said they should dig a tunnel under the house in order to escape when the time came. And that was what Vidura had instructed. Okay, so Bhima and Arjuna wondered why they should live in a fear of Duryodhana. Why not challenge him outright? Bhima was especially angry and remembering the times when Duryodhana had tried to poison him. He slapped his biceps and said menacingly, "Just order me, dear brother, and I shall immediately crush the Kauravas with my bare hands." No, Yudhishthira said. Their position was in no way equal to that of their cousins. They are 100 and we are 5. They have rank, power, friends, allies, and wealth. Dhritarashtra will never abandon his sons, and Bhishma and Drona will always stand by the king. We cannot challenge the Kurus directly. So, yeah, that was the situation with Pandavas. They cannot fight because they were not equal. Their power was not that much. They have to fight with Kauravas. The army was not there, people were not there, so they cannot fight. Okay, the twins suggested that they immediately fly from the Vanavat. Yudhishthira again disagreed. Once he knows we are running in fear, Duryodhana will use his spies and agents to find us and kill us by any devious means. Okay, so they cannot run away also. तो ऐसा सिचुएशन है कि जा भी नहीं सकते हैं, जानते हैं कि यहाँ पर प्रॉब्लम, लड़ भी नहीं सकते हैं, बता भी नहीं सकते हैं, और they have to find out some other way. So Yudhishthira decided that their best hope lay in leaving the lake house, seemingly unaware of the danger. Remaining constantly alert, they should prepare an escape tunnel under the house. They should also spend their days hunting in the woods and looking for a route that would take them away from the city. When Purochana set light to the house, they could escape without anyone knowing. Duryodhana would think them dead and would not then pursue them. Okay, so that was the plan of Yudhishthira. His brothers agreed. They then searched the house for a place to dig the tunnel. As they were looking, a man came to the house and introduced himself as a friend of Vidura. He told Yudhishthira that he was a skilled miner and had been sent there by Vidura, who had informed him that on a new moon night, Rochana planned to set light to the door of their house. Yudhishthira looked at the man carefully. Was this yet another of Duryodhana's disciples? The miner reassured him by mentioning the incident when Vidura had spoken to him in the Manicha dialects. So Yudhishthira then welcomed him warmly and replied, "We are ever protected by the virtuous Vidura. It is our good fortune that you have come here. The wicked and sinful Duryodhana has had this house constructed from all sorts of flammable materials. In command of wealth and allies, he pursues us relentlessly." Amina said he would begin construction of subterranean passage. Immediately, he began to dig from the center of the house and covered the hole with planks and large earth. As the miner worked, the Pandavas spent their days wandering in the surrounding woods. They soon ascertained a route leading away from the Vanava through the forest. While living in the house, the brothers gave to Purochana the appearance of being peaceful and happy, so as not to arouse his suspicious. But at night they slept with their arms at the ready. Okay, one of them always remaining alert in case Purochana made an unexpected move. No one but the miner knew of their plans. A full year passed in this way, and Purochana was satisfied, thinking the Pandavas unaware of his intentions. When Yudhishthira saw that the minister suspected nothing, trusted them completely, he said his brothers, "Let us preempt Purochana before he can enact in his plan. I think we should ourselves set light to the house and make our escape." The tunnel was complete. Yudhishthira considered that their best hope lay in deceiving Duryodhana into thinking his plan had succeeded. That would allow the brothers to escape without being pursued. They would then have time to consider their next move. After discussing all the angles, the brothers decided that they would set fire to the house the next night. The following day, a festival was being celebrated in Varnavrat. Kunti distributed food and wealth to the Brahmins, and many poor people came to the Pandavas' mansions to beg charity. By the arrangement of Providence, a Nishad tribe's woman also arrived with her five sons. Uh, the servants Kunti had placed in charge of distributing the food sat the women and her sons down, then brought them food and large quantity of wine. Gradually they became drunk and fell asleep where they had been eating. The servants, unable to rouse them, and decided to leave them there for the night. All the Pandavas were unaware of this. Okay. Outside, as night fell, a storm blew up, and the Pandavas sat together in their room waiting until they were sure that the Purochana who occupied the room by the door of the house was asleep. Yudhishthira then instructed Bhima to set house on fire. Bhima then took a torch and lit the door and several other places as his brothers and Kuntis made their way along the tunnel. He followed them quickly, and in a moment uh, the whole house was ablaze. Hearing the roar of the fire, the citizens of Vanabat all came out and saw with horror the blazing mansions. They were aware of the rivalry between Duryodhana and the Pandavas, and they immediately guessed what had happened. This is undoubtedly Duryodhana's doing, they said. He has employed his evil minister to destroy the innocent and unsuspecting sons of Pandu. By upon that wicked man whose understanding is so crude. The willing people of the city surrounded the burning mansions and remained through the night. When morning came, they threw water onto the embers and searched the burned out ruins. They found the remains of Purochana and also of the Nishad woman and her sons. Concluding that the Pandavas were dead, they lamented loudly, censuring Duryodhana and his father. Some of them even condemned Bhishma, Drona, and the other Kuru elders for allowing such a terrible thing to happen. The miner who was present among the citizens ensured that the searchers did not find the tunnel. Thus, no one in the Vanavat even guessed that Pandavas were alive and that they were at that time making their way through the forest, and the city leaders then sent messengers to Hastinapur with the news of the Pandavas' death. When Dhritarashtra heard the messages from Varnamath, he cried out in grief, "Alas, my brother Pandu has died again. Today became his heroic sons and their illustrious mother have been killed. What a cruel destiny! How can I face life without my gentle nephews?" Dhritarashtra then ordered the royal Brahmins go immediately to Varnamath to perform the funeral rites for Kunti and her sons. Along with Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, and the other elders, the king went to the Ganges to offer sacred water to departed souls. As they stood in the river, they cried out, "All are able to hear me?" Okay. Any question till now? Anything to discuss here? Hmm? Any point you think we should discuss? No. I have one point here. So, see, I was thinking like these Pandavas, like Yudhishthir Maharaj, Arjun, and all these people like Vidura. If you will hear about them from Bhagavatam, you will understand they are like big devotees. Okay? In Bhagavatam, it is like Vidura, uh, how he went away and he did all the tirthas. He was knowing all about Krishna. He was eager to hear about Krishna. He heard एक बार तो उन्होंने भागवतम पूरा वहां पर बैठ के सुना था वहां पर हरिद्वार में सुना था मैंने मैत्री ऋषि से सुना भागवत को विदुर ने और इवन धृतराष्ट्र जो है वो एंड में धृतराष्ट्र और गांधारी दोनों चले जाते हैं भगवत धाम। उन्होंने भी काफी साधना की थी जब विदुर आके उनको लेकर जाते हैं। और युधिष्ठिर महाराज और अर्जुन ये सब कृष्ण के काफी करीबी हैं और कृष्ण को काफी कृष्ण कुंती महारानी तो स्वयं उनकी बहुत सारी स्तुतियां हैं भगवतम में और उन्होंने कैसे भगवान का वर्णन किया है तो बहुत सुंदर है। मतलब ये सब लोग डिवोटीज हैं, राइट? और फ्रॉम हियर इफ वी आर रीडिंग महाभारत from a different angle, you can see how although they are very dharmic and devotees, but still they have these all uh, intelligence, and they are aware about the niti shastra. They are aware about how to act in different situations. As we are seeing कि युधिष्ठिर महाराज कैसे अपने आप को उस सिचुएशंस की सारी कंसिडरेशन देख रहे हैं। मतलब देख रहे हैं कि कैसे हमको बचना है, हम क्या क्या कर सकते हैं इस सिचुएशन में, उसके उसके क्या क्या पॉसिबिलिटीज हैं। और विदुर को आप देख रहे हैं, विदुर कितना अच्छे से उनको बचा रहे हैं, उनको उनको उन्होंने मैसेज भी कन्वे कर दिया, ऐसी लैंग्वेज में मैसेज कन्वे किया कि वो केवल युधिष्ठिर महाराज समझ पाएंगे और कोई नहीं समझ पाएगा। और मतलब हमको ये पता लग रहा है कि कितने इंटेलिजेंट लोग हैं, राइट? मतलब ये लोग कोई ऐसे नहीं है कि जस्ट they are not putting their efforts to save themselves or कुछ भी नहीं है। तो although they are devotees, but they are very good in other things also. So मतलब point ये है कि devotees can also use these kind of things। हम इससे समझ सकते हैं कि devotees को भी मतलब ये सब चीज़ें पता होना चाहिए कि how to act in society, how to deal with different kind of people, how to deal in different kind of situations. You have to use tips and tricks you have taken to save yourself and continue your life. So, so they were aware about all those things. Okay, so where we were, Racha then ordered the royal governments. Okay, this is done. So, as they stood in the river, they cried out, O Yudhishthira, O Bhima, O Arjuna. Others called out the names of the Kunti and the twins. Thousands of grieving citizens came out of Hastinapur to offer oblations. Sounds of wailing and sorrow filled the air. Bhishma was particularly afflicted as he remembered the young princes who had always been like sons to him. Only Vidura did not lament, as he knew the truth. But still, he did not speak about it to anyone. He knew he could not risk telling even Bhishma, who was always loyal to the king and Hastinapur. Mhm. So the Pandavas and Kunti emerged from their tunnel some distance from uh, one another. As their eyes became accustomed to the darkness, they proceeded in the direction they had already charted. They were tired and afraid, and they found it difficult to hurry. Seeing this, tireless Bhima lifted them all onto his vast frame. To everyone's astonishment, he placed his mother on his shoulder, the twins on his two sides, and Yudhishthira and Arjuna on each arm, then ran through the forest, knocking down trees and trading down bushes and brambles. Uh, भीमा जो है कितने कितने पावरफुल है, उन्होंने सबको उठा लिया और वो वहां से इनको निकाल के ले गया। At dawn, they arrived at the Ganges, where another of Vidura's emissaries met him. This man was sitting in a boat, and he called out to the Pandavas as they stood measuring the depth of the river with a stone tied to a creeper. Startled, the brothers looked around, and Yudhishthira approached the man in the boat, who told them that he been told by Vidura to wait there for them. He had been there every night for months. carefully watching for signs of the brothers. The man assures Yudhishthira of his credential by repeating to him the conversation the prince had with Vidura in the Melichatam, explaining that he had come to ferry them across the river and help them on their way. The man said Vidura has sent his embrace and said that you will surely be victorious over your enemies. He said that you should remain always alert and depend upon the Lord, by whose arrangement auspiciousness will always attend you. Get into this boat quickly, and I shall take you far from here. Okay, so Vidura helping them and simultaneously telling them, that, okay, you should be dependent on the Lord. Mhm. And see, Vidura is having his own team. उनका अपना एक ग्रुप है, नेटवर्क है, उनके खुद के लोग हैं जो वो भेज रहे हैं विदाउट, मतलब इवन किंग को भी पता नहीं है, और इनका खुद का नेटवर्क है, उसका यूज कर रहे हैं. Propelled by the engine and sails, and the boat moved swiftly through the flowing river towards the south. The Pandavas journeyed for some hours and were finally set down on the opposite bank near a broad path leading into the woods. The boatman wished them success and departed, taking with him a message of thanks for Vidur. The brothers continued south. They soon entered a dense forest. Feeling tired and hungry, they sat down. Yudhishthira said in an anguished voice, "What could be more painful? Here we are, lost in some deep and fearful forest. We do not know if the sinful Prochuna has somehow survived and informed Duryodhana of our escape. What dangers lay ahead for us now?" Kunti was exhausted and could walk no further. She sat on tree root and glancing around fearfully. Her sons searched about for a way to go deeper into the jungle. It appeared virtually impregnable with its huge trees and bushes enmeshed in a tight network of creepers. The cries of birds and animals filled the air. Yudhishthira gazed into the forest and said to him, "O mighty son of Vayu, you must again carry us into these dreadful woods. I can see no other way for us to continue." Bhima bowed his head in respect to his elder brother. Once again he placed his mother and four brothers on his powerful body. When they were all holding on tightly, he ran straight into the forest. He bounded high into the air and broke trees with his feet, clearing a path as he progressed. Tall flowering trees fell on all sides with great cracking sounds, sending up showers of blossoms. Forest animals fled in all directions on the prince as the prince crashed through the woods. He seemed like an angry elephant king charging through the jungle. So swift was his movement that Kunti and her sons almost fainted. Still, carrying the five of them, and Bhima also swam the streams and lakes and that crossed his path. As evening fell, they stopped for the night under the shelter of a large banyan tree. Bhima sat down his mother, and brothers, and they fell to the ground overwhelmed by fatigue, hunger, and thirst. Kunti asked Bhima to bring her some water. He replied, I hear the sweet singing of waterfall not far from here. Undoubtedly, there is a lake nearby. The unflagging Bhima went at once towards the sound and soon found the lake. After bathing and drinking deeply, he sewed his upper garments and went back to the banyan tree. But by the time he returned, his mother and brother had fallen into the deep sleep. Seeing them lying on the bare ground, Bhima lamented to himself, "What more painful sight could there be? Here are my five brothers who could not even sleep in one hour on the costliest of beds, sleeping now on the cold earth. My gentle mother, as delicate and resplendent as the filament of a lotus flower, lies exhausted on the hard forest floor." Okay, Bhima wrung his hands in anguish and frustration. If only the Kauravas were present before him now, they would regret their treachery. It was only by the grace of God that Yudhishthira did not command him to kill them all. Bhima looked at his sleeping elder brothers. Surely he deserved to rule the entire earth. He never abandoned virtue or gave away to anger. Only because of this were the Kauravas still alive. Bhima sighed and looked around. They had traveled many miles through the forest. Perhaps there was a town or village not far away. He would remain awake, guarding his brothers, and in the morning they could continue. The prince sat on the root of the banyan tree with his mind and senses alert to danger. Not far from where the brothers had stopped was a massive sal tree on which lived a Rakshasa named Hidimba. He had slept through the day and was just awakening as the Pandavas were falling asleep. Yawning and stretching his enormous arms, he sniffed the night air. At once he detected the scent of human nearby. He sat up quickly and called out of his sister, who lived on the same tree. Hidimbi, Hidimbi, wake up. I smell human flesh. It has been a long time since we tasted our favorite food. My mouth is already watering. Quickly find the humans, and after killing them, bring them here. Tearing their necks with my long fangs, I shall quaff their hot, foaming blood. Both of us shall eat our fill and uh, fill, then dance happily. The Rakshasa woman shook her long orange hair and opened her blood-red eyes. She cackled and looked at the long claws pro- protruding from her black fingers. Hidambi and her brother had often slain and eaten hapless travelers. Swinging down from the branch, she went silently through the trees, following the scent. In a few minutes, she arrived at the spot where the Pandavas lay, and Rakshasi saw the invincible Bhima seated nearby. As soon as her eyes fell upon him, her heart was moved by desire. The prince looked like a god. His skin was the color of molten gold, and his shoulders resembled those of a lion. His neck resembled a conch. His eyes were like large lotus petals. Hidambi decided immediately that he should be her husband. If she killed him, she and her brothers would enjoy the brief pleasure of eating his flesh. But if she united with him, her pleasure would be far greater. Deciding to ignore her brother's order, Hidambi assumed the form of a beautiful woman, decorated with celestial ornaments and clothed in crimson silks. She walked slowly up to him. With a bashful smile, she said, "O best of men, who are you? What brings you to this dark and deathless forest? Who are these godlike men laying on the ground? Who is that woman of transcendent beauty lying with them?" Dreama looked at her in surprise. Was she the forest deity? What was such beautiful woman doing alone at night in such a place? He listened carefully as Hidambi continued. This forest belongs to my brother Hidamba, a powerful man eating Rakshasa. With the intention of eating your flesh, he sent me here to kill you. She raised her hand as Bhima suddenly stood up. Do not fear. I have been smitten with desire upon seeing you, who are as handsome as God. Please accept me as your wife, for I am being victimized by cupid sharps. Hidambi told Bhima that she would save him from her brother. She would carry him through the sky and far away from Hidimba. Then they could enjoy together in a celestial mountain region. Bhima sat down again. He shook his head. "O Rakshasi, how do you expect me to abandon my sleeping mother and brothers simply to gratify my lust?" Hidambi looked down at the sleeping Pandavas and Kunti. Wake them up. I shall carry you all away from this place. Bhima shook his head again. I shall not wake my mother and brother out of fear of any Rakshasa. There's no Rakshasa, Yaksha, or Gandharva able to withstand my strength. O beautiful shaved lady, you may stay or go as you please. Or if you like, you may send your man eating brother to me. As they were speaking together, Hidimba was becoming impatient. Where was his foolish sister? Why had she not returned? The Rakshasa jumped down from his tree and moved towards the human scent. Hidambi sensed her brother approached and she became alarmed. She pleaded with Bhima, please do not argue with me. My brother is coming. Do not tarry here. Become his meal. Wake up the others and allow me to rescue all of you. Viva simply smiled, and the cannibal present no problem to me. Indeed, I shall kill him here before your eyes. Do not consider me an ordinary human being. My two arms are like the trunks of mighty elephants, and my thighs resemble iron clubs. My prowess is no less than Indra himself. I fear nothing. Hidambi was still doubtful. She had seen the Rakshasa giants prove their superiority over man on many occasions. They were more on a level with the celestials than with humans. It was rare human who could overpower Rakshasa. So Bhima looked over Hidambi's shoulder and saw her brother approaching. He was as dark as a rain cloud and he had hideous features. His ears were shaped like arrows, and the shock of red hair on his head stood erect. His powerful body, clad in a lion cloth, was covered in a wiry red hair. The Rakshasa was tall as a tree and had broad shoulders. His arms, thick like tree trunks, reached down to his knees. Mhm. His huge mouth was open, revealing rows of fearful fangs. He opened his crimson eyes in surprise as he saw his sister standing in a human form next to Bhima. Seeing her so beautiful, bedecked with celestial ornaments, Hidimba immediately understood that she had become lustful towards the human. He spoke angrily. Who is so foolish as to create obstacles for me when I am hungry? Oh, sister, have you become so senseless that you do not fear my anger? Fie upon you, or, O unchaste woman, say out of lust you are ready to do me an injury and sacrifice the very honor of our race. I shall kill you along with these humans. Pressing his teeth together, Hidimba ran at his sister with his arms raised. Bhima stood up at once and stepped forward. His voice boomed out, stop! How dare you awaken my peacefully sleeping brothers? Nor should you attack this innocent woman. O wicked-minded one, your sister is not in control of herself. She has been brought under Cupid's control. Therefore, she should not be punished. Bhima smiled scornfully at the cannibal and challenging him to fight. The prince said, today you shall reach the land of the dead. I will pound your head to pieces. Your sister shall see me drag your mountain-like frame, even as a lion drags an elephant. Hawks, vultures, and jackals will then gleefully tear apart your corpse. Today this forest shall be rendered safe for all travelers. Hidimba flared up. He laughed at the human impudence, advancing towards Bhima. The cannibal screamed, what use is this boasting? First accomplish all this and then speak. You think yourself strong, but you shall learn the truth today. For now your brothers may sleep peacefully. First I shall kill you, O foul-mouthed one. After drinking your blood, I will then slay the others. The Rakshasa rushed at Bhima with his arms outstretched. Bhima immediately seized the giant's arms and, not wanting to disturb his sleeping brothers, dragged him away a full 32 cubits. as a lion might drag a small deer. Hidimba broke free from Bhima's hold and wrapped his arms around him. He tightened his grasp and tried to crush him to death. Bhima was unharmed. Even while held in Rakshasa's powerful grip, Bhima pulled him still further away so that his terrible yells might not disturb the others. He then burst free from Hidimba and clasped him in turn. The two fighters displayed their might as they lifted and hurled each other violently. They crashed above like two great elephants fighting for supremacy. Huge trees were smashed and splintered. The noise awoke the other princes and their mother. They sat up and looked around. They were astonished to see the extraordinary beautiful Hidambi. Kunti addressed her with gentle words. O celestial maiden, who are you? To whom do you belong? Why have you come to this forest? Are you the forest deity of or an Apsara? Please tell me everything. Hidimbi explained who she was, how she had come to standing there, pointing to the combatants. She said, I have chosen your golden hued and immensely powerful son on as my husband. Greatly angered by this, my brother has attacked him. See now how they struggle together, man and Rakshasa, filling the forest with their roars. Yudhishthira and the other Pandavas stood up hastily and looked across at Bhima. He was pounding Hidimba with his fists, making a sound like thunderclaps. The Rakshasa pressed forward and reached for Bhima's neck with his large hands. As they grappled, a dust cloud rose and covered them. They appeared like two cliffs enveloped in mist. Arjuna ran over, and with a smile on his lips, said to his brother, O mighty armed one, why did you not wake me? I can see that you are growing tired fighting this terrible Rakshasa. Rest now, and I shall kill him. Nakula and Sadev will protect our mother. Arjuna was taunting his brother only to incite his anger, and his words had the desired effect. Bhima blazed up with fury and replied, You need only be a spectator, dear brother. Have no fear. Now that this evil cannibal has entered my clutches, he shall not escape with his life. Arjuna urged Bhima to make haste. Flight was approaching, and the Rakshasa's strength would be doubled. Bhima should kill him at once before he was able to use mystic powers and illusion to fight. Bhima summoned his father Vayu's latent power. With a roar, he lifted the Rakshasa above his head and whirling him around. Bhima said, O cannibal, you have led a life of sin. Your existence has been in vain. Therefore, you deserve an unholy death. Now I shall slay you like the beast you are, thereby freeing this forest from this stony plant. Thorny plant. Okay. Bhima whirled the Rakshasa 100 times and dashed him to the ground. Hidimba let out a terrible roar which reverberated around the forest like a massive drum. Now Hidimba was only semi-conscious. Bhima lifted him again and by smashing him onto the trunk of a large cell tree, broke his back into two. He then stood up and smiled at his brother, who by then had gathered around him. They embraced him and looking at the lifeless form of the giant Rakshasa, congratulated him for his incredible feat. Okay, Hare Krishna. Any comment or question from anyone? So, any one of you have seen the temple of Hidimbi in India? No one. There's
No,
one.
Prabhuji.
There's one temple of Hidimbi. I have seen that. It's in. I think it's in. I think in Manali or Shimla somewhere. There only they have this temple. It's a big temple, big forest place. Yeah. Yeah, so the temple of Delhi is there. You can go because in the next, I think next chapter you will see that she will get married with Nima and his son Gatotkash will come. So yeah. Any other questions, comments in this pastime? Do something. No. Ashay Prabhu, would you like to add something?
No, Prabhu.
Avinda Prabhu is not there today.
No, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu को देखो अच्छा था. You will put some more points. ठीक है, अगर कोई पॉइंट नहीं है तो थैंक यू एवरीवन. हरे कृष्णा. श्रील प्रभुपाद की.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you.
Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्णा.